On it. That's right indeed. Rascal Flats. Hope you guys dig that. Stand radio style. Doing a quick one here. I don't know. Let's see how quick is. That's a deadly word in my word in my world. So yeah, we're doing something here about kind of connection, how energies sort of work. This kind of came up in a sort of random way, and that's usually how a lot of my topics do come up. So I'm all over the place. I know. And I don't want. I know some people don't necessarily like some of the ones that are more into this spiritually genre stuff, but these do tie in usually to the concepts of manifestations in general. So today's specifically, I kind of want to tie it into if you're with that specific someone or if you're looking to get that specific someone, I want it to be said. So I'm going to be using examples from that standpoint. But how this whole thing came up was actually a user. I believe it was a viewer. Why do I say user? It's a viewer that emailed me and told me about how they were essentially, this happens to them frequently where they'll maybe look at a picture on their, Instagram or whatever the heck is, one of these places that has pictures, right? And he'll look at one of them and he'll be like, oh, that'd make a great profile picture for you. And then like almost immediately, suddenly he gets an update email that she's changed her profile picture and ironically chosen that one. So it was kind of a good example. And I was like, that is a good time to sort of bring up that whole concept of how connections work. Now, we have connections with everyone. You have connections, obviously, with your immediate family, and those are bonds that are more familiar. They're people that you experience more often. So it's kind of, a lot of times, if they're connecting with you, you almost will think, I think my brother's thinking of me. It's more common in that regard. But we're connected to everyone. Even if it's someone that's a stranger to you, there is actually, from the higher self standpoint, there is connections. There's oftentimes, and this is getting way off topic, but oftentimes whatever's in front of you, we've created for ourselves. It's there for a reason. So by paying attention to those things, oftentimes you'll find a lot of little nuggets that are hidden right in front of you because universe, source, God, whatever, brings it right to you. And so why is that? So again, we're all connected. When you get into someone significant, your significant person, this person that you are connecting with love, right? With this level of energy, with this intensity of love in many occasions, right? That's why we're so stuck on them, is there's this intensity of love, and in some cases maybe a little fear mixed in there with it's kind of an interesting sort of flavor to the whole love meal, right? For the energy rainbow that we're shooting off to our individual other people. But one other thing I've said, I think I'm just kind of cutting here for a second because I'm going to get right back into this topic, but I've brought this up before as a good way to test the way energy works. And I think it's fun. It's something that you can do. And it, generally speaking, when you look at someone like the back of their head, the side of their head, it doesn't really matter. You could be sitting in a cafe or whatever, and they're standing over, 20, 30, 40 feet away, right? 30 feet, whatever. Make it so they can actually focus on you. But when you look at them, just stare at them. Just literally just stare at their head and see how long it takes before they actually turn and look towards you. They will. Now, there's times if someone's way too busy or frankly is just ignoring it or is frankly used to being looked at, you get used to kind of ignoring that feeling. But generally speaking, people that are more sensitive will almost immediately. It's really a trip. You can look at them for just a moment, for a second, for 5 seconds, and they'll look. And it's just like, wow, they pick up on that feeling. So again, that's something that you can play with to prove how these energy connections are. They could be total strangers that you do this with. In fact, it makes it more fun because for them it'll be weird and you feel it. You just feel when someone stares at you. It's why so many people hate getting up on stage. That scares the crap out of some people because there's so much viewing right at you. It's a lot of energy, a lot of connections at one time, and it can freak you out. So again, areas where that kind of hopefully, I don't want to say proves, but yeah, I think so, But right, and another example too that happens frequently, I'm going to laugh if that's someone's, okay, good. A lot of us have also had the example too where, you think of someone, they pop into your head and then ba-dink, dink, and you get a text message or whatever your text message noise makes. Mine sounds like a bottle cap flipping off. It's pretty cool. But I mean, again, or they've called you, right? You get that feeling or suddenly an email comes through, whatever. How many times have you had that happen? I'm sure that's happened to some of you, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 50 times. So again, another example of how that energy connection is. They're thinking of you and hitting send. And you're like, hey, so-and-so. Oh, wow, text message. Oh, wow, it's her. And so again, the energy is very, very cool. So how I want to tie this in to your specific someone, and this is the letting go process. It's probably why I put letting go in the title, because this is truly the meat of what I think this is going to benefit most people, is this piece of it. The other stuff was kind of to prove it. Here's it in action for your specific someone. This is why letting go, especially when you feel like you're not getting traction, or maybe there's that level of frustration, maybe there's not necessarily reciprocation, something along those lines. How it feels dynamically when you spend your daily energy thinking of them, loving them, imagining them, and doing these daily focused energy efforts. Every time you kind of connect with them and your thought transmitting these energies of love, all these energies, it'll feel like kind of good to them, and they might have a fond, happy thought of you at that moment. I don't know if you're, so what I'm saying is you're creating this connection on a daily basis, and they begin to get used to it. They get used to it after a while, right? It's the same feeling. I feel it all the time. I know they like me. Meh. That's the way they're interpreting it now. They think of you. That thought bridge is created for sure. But they're like, I know. I'll call him one of these days. Bye. Who knows, right? But what happens when we finally turn it off? I don't know why it was a dimmer in my particular little motion here. Apparently I'm using a dimmer. So when you dim it down, when you dim down that connection with them, when you turn it off, when you let go, when you cut that daily energy sending, what almost immediately happens is they feel it as a, whoa, like, oh, and then there's kind of almost a loss, a regret. There's a chunk missing, like the cord got, and they feel it. They don't consciously know what that feeling means, but they feel it. They feel it. You pop into their head, and in a way where it's kind of like, and it depends on where they're at, but generally speaking, it's more of a, because they already know you love them, right? They already know this. And now all of a sudden they kind of feel this weird, like sorrow, kind of regret, kind of, I really don't, I should reach out. I should probably say something. And then they'll, out of the blue, text message you, or out of the blue, stop by your place of work, or out of the blue, call you. It feels weird all of a sudden to them. And you're a part of that thought. It almost turns their head from a distance, if you will. It's like staring at someone, kind of, right? Like you're constantly staring, and they know you're staring. They love it that you're staring. It's like one of those scenarios where maybe they, got a good body or something. They love getting looked at. Like they're always the one working out in the middle of the room in front of everyone, whatever. So my point is all of a sudden when you stop giving them that energy, it is bothersome. It's why isn't he looking at me? What, am I not? I mean, literally, that happens, right? I mean, some of you probably know for sure. Know the same. It's like, it's how I feel. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, nah, I don't want to look at you. And it's like, well, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't he want to look at me? It's weird the way energy works, but that is how it ebbs and flows. It goes back and forth. That's why. And I'll try to tie this into a show in the future. It'd be a tough one to do, but it'd be fun. That's the whole concept of you pushed out. It's these energy tentacles. Our energy's going to them, and their energy's maybe coming back or whatever. It might not be reciprocating. That's usually, why we're frustrated. So we're sending all this energy to them, and nothing's really coming back. So anyway, I'm not ready to do that show, obviously. But that's the concept. We're building these bridges, and through these energy connections, we affect the people that we most care about. They're the ones we generally have the strongest connections with, and certainly your specific person. So when you're trying to move through these stages, it is super beneficial to realize some of the dynamics at work. You don't have to necessarily know how gravity works. You don't have to know that the acceleration is, was it 9.8 meters per second, right? Or 32 feet per second. Yeah, that's sad that I remember that, whatever. It doesn't matter that you don't know that formula or that acceleration rate due to gravity, but it's going to pull you down to the ground if you jump off the roof of a car or something stupid like that. Gravity's there. It just helps to understand that concept's out there. And sometimes it's good to know the numbers and how it works too. But anyway, Dan Radio Style, having to do with this connecting and this letting go concept and our specific people, and I just totally threw my paper away. And I don't remember what song. I don't know what song I'm going out with. Hang on. This is why we don't cut. This is just so you can see that I'm an absolute crazy man. Woo, there we go. Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's no way I would have gotten that song. So anyway, this is for any of you ladies out there that might have seen 50 Shades of Grey. This is a Skylar Grey song. It's called I Know You. You're going to be hearing it right here. Well, 30 seconds of it anyway, right here on Dan Radio Style.